for coming on such short notice. Wanted to give a little bit of an update on not only the visit and trip to Rome, things that happened there, and obviously a few things have also happened, always happened, in the city over the last 4 or 5 days. So obviously after talking about the Rome trip, be glad to try to answer any other questions that you might have. Obviously, the Chief of Staff, Everett Gillison, and I are back. Got back yesterday afternoon, I think about 3:30, something to 4. As I think everyone can see from the local press coverage, our delegation's trip to Rome was not only wonderful, but I would say tremendously successful and productive, and at the same time, of course, always glad to be back in Philadelphia. Being invited to Rome to meet His Holiness Pope Francis is certainly one of the greatest honors and blessings that I've experienced in my life. We were presented to Pope Francis on the world stage with an international audience, and it was a moment that I will remember forever. To spend time with him, to present him with gifts from Philadelphia, to be able to personally ask Pope Francis to come to Philadelphia, and to be so warmly received, not only by him, but certainly the entire Pontifical Council for this upcoming World Meeting of Families is truly historic and significant for this city and all of us who had the great honor of participating. I was also really happy that our local press corps was present in Rome, able to send teams to cover this historic event, including, of course, many of our TV stations, newspapers, and other media. And they were able to witness that moment and many of the moments in person and in real time, and then share that information with, of course, all the folks back home. And I understand that there are pictures on the front pages of both the Inquirer and the Daily News, I guess it was yesterday in particular, and many other stations and media outlets are either carrying photos. I can also let you know that Chief of Staff Gillison and I, as soon as we, from a technological standpoint, figure out how to do this, we'll also be releasing many of the personal photos that we took as well. I want to thank His Holiness Pope Francis for the invitation to Rome and for the opportunity to have significant meeting time with Archbishop Paglia and the leadership of the Pontifical Council for the World Meeting of Families. It was, again, truly productive and a wonderful opportunity for Philadelphia to talk about what a great place our city is to be the host city for this international meeting. We owe a great deal of thanks and a tremendous debt of gratitude to Archbishop Chaput and his team, all the folks over at the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, but in particular, Donna Farrell, Meg Kane, Brian Tierney, and the co-chairs of the World Meeting of Families event. And I'll name just a few, but there is a much larger delegation that participated. Mr. Joe Neubauer and his wife Jeanette, Mr. Dan Hilferty and his wife Jo, and Mr. James McGuire and his wife Franny, and all of the participants, including the chairs of the Finance Committee, as well as all of the leadership members who attended. We're hopeful, of course, that ultimately the Holy Father will decide to come to Philadelphia during the World Meeting of Families. But again, to be clear, and Archbishop Paglia said it best, and as you can imagine for any world leader, they will not make an announcement, even if they actually know what they're going to do right now, and they didn't disclose that. But even if they did, for such a world leader, they will not make any public announcement until about 4 to 6 months before the event, and I'm sure everyone can understand why. We are working across all levels of government to ensure a seamless coordination of city services that are necessary for a successful implementation of this event in Philadelphia. We're holding meetings with the World Meeting of Families and the Archdiocese and the governor's team to get a sense of the timeline and activities that will take place during the conference. We'll also be able to discuss this with the Pontifical Council in Italy and the World Meeting of Families team on the ground here in Philadelphia. We have ongoing meetings and discussions with our own Office of Public Safety, the Office of Emergency Management, Philadelphia Police Department, Homeland Security, and the United States Secret Service. At the present time, there has not been a venue selected for some of the larger public events, and the level of preparation that is obviously also dependent upon the Pope's participation. We will, in fact, though, make our planning with the full hope that he will attend, and so that we are fully operationally and security-wise prepared. With that, I'll be glad to try to answer any questions that you might have. First about the visit, and then if you have other issues that you'd like to raise, I'll do my best to answer those. Jenny?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor. Welcome back.
Good afternoon. Good to be back.
I'm curious if there were any other cities that had a presence as great as Philadelphia did there. Did you have a lot of competition, you felt like, with other city leaders?
Well, this, I guess it's a two-part thing. The World Meeting of Families is already designated to come to Philadelphia. That was determined some time ago by the Pontifical Council. So there is no competition. It's coming, and it is happening. The event, I guess if you will, that we were fortunate to attend on Wednesday is the Wednesday, it's not communication, is the Wednesday general audience that the Pope has every Wednesday. There were, out of the Vatican, general estimates are upwards of about 100,000 people out on the plaza in front of St. Peter's Basilica. There was a reading of lists of groups and organizations and, or, you know, a lot of seemingly school children aged folks. There were, you know, high school and college age people, and then other adults from different places, different cities, different countries. They were read out before the session, and folks reacted when they heard their names. But I think as a city with a delegation, I think we were pretty much the only ones there. And we were there, obviously, for the particular purpose of the meeting with the Pontifical Council and the opportunity to meet Pope Francis in particular. Sure. Any other questions on the visit? Mike?
In return, in any way more optimistic about the likelihood that he would come?
Oh, I think the general consensus, and Governor Corbett and I talked about this yesterday. No, Wednesday. Talked about this on Wednesday at the press conference after the general session. We are very optimistic about the prospects of Pope Francis coming to Philadelphia. But again, that is an announcement to come in the future, and it should first and foremost come either from the Pope directly or from the Vatican or from the Pontifical Council, not for us to say or to get out in front of, but certainly after the visit, the discussions with the Pontifical Council, and again, Archbishop Paglia and his team, we are, in fact, I think, very optimistic that His Holiness will come, but we will not know until there is an official designation, and based on the calendar, that'll probably be sometime next year.
So my question really was there anything on the trip, including obviously the meeting with the Pontiff, that makes you more optimistic now than you were before?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly had a sense of optimism before we left, but after the full presentation with the Pontifical Council, after literally having the opportunity to officially greet him, shake his hand, talk with him for a few minutes, you know, he just seemed not only joyful to see us, but was quite well aware why we were there. We were the only civilians, if you were, seated where we were seated. We were on the Pope's right, and the only other folks at that level of the stage on his left were bishops and archbishops. And so the Pope's secretary came and talked with us, made all the arrangements for us to be where we were seated, to make the presentation of gifts and to talk. And so I think there's no doubt from our side that they know we want the Pope to come. Past history for the World Meeting of Families is that popes have come. And so I'm just going to leave it at I'm very optimistic. I was more optimistic on Wednesday than my optimism on Sunday when we left Philadelphia to go. But we'll see what happens.
Is it your expectation that organizers would reimburse the city for any overtime costs or anything incurred?
Yeah, we don't have a budget yet, quite honestly, and all of the program details, again, things like venues and costs associated with venues, where it will be, how many people will have to work, how much time, et cetera, those details have not yet been worked out. But Archbishop Chaput and the fundraising team recognize that they have, and I mean, I'm sure I'll be called to make some calls, but the goal is obviously to be able, through fundraising, to be able to cover all costs associated with the event, but we're just not that far along. I do think that this trip this past week and the extensive media coverage, the way we were presented in Rome, the pictures, which tell a lot of stories just from the pictures, all of that activity will certainly help with the fundraising, and I think there'll be some announcements soon about further extensions of invitation for the business community, the civic community, philanthropic community to actively participate. But again, that's an announcement for someone else to make, not me. Any other questions on this? Yes.
Until a few months beforehand, if the Pope decides to come, how does that affect your planning now moving forward?
The focus and mindset here from a pure planning standpoint is that we should anticipate, without knowing, that the Pope may come, because with good planning, you've already taken into account the potentiality of the visit. That takes security and a whole host of other issues to an entirely different level. And the reason you want to do that is because you don't want to make a certain level of plan not anticipating the visit. The announcement hopefully is made, and then you have to go back and over territory that you should have covered in the first place. So A, it's just a total waste of time. B, it's a waste of resources. And C, we're just going to go ahead with the level of planning and security that would accommodate the potential of a visit, hope for the best, and obviously be prepared for anything else. Anything else? Okay. Any other questions or issues about anything else going on in this wonderful town?
And you have obviously the Fed, the state, everybody comes involved with that. Can you just do your whole thing, or do you also have contingency plans with them?
All planning is with everyone. Again, some of the the nature and size of the event, the many other dignitaries who will come anyway, and so there'll be tons of folks from the Vatican. There'll be certainly the potential of ambassadors and government officials from across the country at all three levels of government. So you should just plan for the highest level of security. And we will have to coordinate with, I named a half a dozen agencies. I can assure you there are 20 others that I didn't name that will need to be a part of that planning process. Again, with regard to the Pope, there's a whole different level of security force. He has his own personal security force. The country of Italy has a security force. The Vatican has a security force. And so we have to coordinate with all of them just in that one component. Because of the potential of a head of state, which the Pope is considered a head of state, then you get into federal and state requirements and agencies as well. So everyone will be actively engaged, and it will be a full coordinated effort. Any other issues? Everybody's good? Fantastic. Have a great weekend. Wonderful gifts from the Pontifical Council, from the Vatican. I'm actually carrying, which I didn't put on the table yet, a set of rosaries that were given to me by the Pope. We visited Temple University, has a campus, one of the largest international college abroad programs. I think close to 250 students. They're coming up on their 50th anniversary. And so the governor and I met with a group of students and the dean and other folks at Temple. As I mentioned, we'll be putting up some personal photos that we took. The Pontifical Council gave me a set of coins that have all kinds of inscriptions on them. And so you can certainly see those, take photos or anything like that. Just do your best not to take anything. We'd greatly appreciate that.